kindly permit me to stand on already established protocol. At this point, I'm expecting my slides to be up, but as the media team works on that, I'm to speak on safeguarding the rights of children through the effective implementation of the Child Rights Act. And the question is it a myth or a reality? And as we delve right into that, one of the things that we encounter when it comes to children's rights is somewhat of a feeling. Is it an imported concept? Is it a novel concept? But in actuality, children's rights has always been with us and around us and in all that we've been doing. So, from matters concerning the killing of twins and prohibition of the killing of twins, we see discussion on the right to life of a child. And then even when we go on to our daily lives, especially in the past, when the children were speaking in their local dialect, in addition to freedom of expression, we also see that embedded in that as well is their right to enjoy cultural activities. And then also, even in our times and in the past as well, there wasn't so much use of plastic bag, or what some of us call waterproof bag. When you go to market, it was market bag that you will use again and again. Or when you wear your clothes, or when a child wears, you hand over to your sibling. There was nothing like throwing away clothes when you wear. And embedded in that as well is the right of the child to a healthy and sustainable environment. So in view of that, actually we have had children's rights in our midst and in all that we've been doing all this while. However, the novelty sometimes when we begin to see, over the course of this discourse is in its conceptualization and the need to actually define standards. So what standards of operation are we working on when it comes to the treatment, the protection, safeguarding of children? And at the center of that, we recognize that, we note that children are human beings, undoubtedly. Secondly, that childhood is a stage of human life. So it's not an exclusion, and everybody passes through that stage of human life. And in that as well, there is the peculiarity of childhood, which we cannot ignore. And following that, we realize that, therefore, there need to be tenets guiding that stage of human life. So, in actuality, children's rights is not a separate discourse from human rights. Rather, children's rights are human rights. So, in view of that, we have also seen the advent of legal framework, from non-binding legal framework such as the 1924 Declaration on the Rights of the Child, what we popularly know as the Geneva Declaration, which, though non-binding, was very much compelling. And then all the way to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which we have in 1989, the 1990 African Charter at our regional level, and then down to our very own Child Rights Act of 2003. And definitely, when we're talking about law and even human rights, we definitely cannot sideline the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. So we see that advent of legal framework, all in a bid to ensure that we have these standards, clearly defined. Nobody is working in confusion. Nobody is operating in a different scope when it comes to treatment, care of children. And with that, at least now we can finally celebrate, the nationwide adoption of the Child Rights Act of 2003. The slides also will show you the different years the various states have actually adopted the Child Rights Act. We actually did a research on that at the firm, and it's also available. So in view of that, so we all know that yes, there is now a legal framework, and even at the state level for operation. And one of the things that we always hammer on is implementation. You know, implementation. So the cause of this presentation is so that we will not solely talk implementation, but we will truly do implementation. So, and we'll be looking at 4 things in terms of action, which is knowledge, accountability, monitoring, and development. So in terms of knowledge, we cannot implement truly if we do not know. And it's very, very important. So various provisions of the Child Rights Act, I'm just starting, They told me 20 minutes before I came here. Okay, I will try my best to be as fast as possible. Please, please. So when we're talking about knowledge, the Child Rights Act in itself provides the importance of trainings, in-house development, of judicial officers, social workers, members of the specialized police units, and all of that. So we see the importance of it. And even when we look at the nature of the child's rights discourse, it is a multidisciplinary field. So we can't just say education when it comes to solely maybe judicial officers, social workers. Rather, by even the very framing of this section 1 of the of that law, the act, it talks about the best interest principle, we see that all duty bearers need to be educated, informed at the different levels. And one of the things I believe, even as in our legal space, is that for one, children make up about 50% of Nigeria's population. And if as legal practitioners, we are not even trained to, at the foundational level to provide services, to understand child justice administration for 50% of the population, then we are truly doing something that is not absolutely correct. So I also would even recommend training commencing from universities, training commencing at the Nigerian Law School, because we see the peculiarity of this phase. And yes, I know that universities have elective courses, but should it really be elective when we are talking about 50% of the Nigerian population? So that as well. And in addition to that, children. We also cannot talk about safeguarding the rights of children and continue to adopt reactive measures. We also have to be proactive. And in being able to be proactive, children also have to be educated using child-friendly resources, and child-friendly mechanisms as well. So going on as well, very, very quickly, there is accountability, very important at different stages. Monitoring as well at different stages. There is the Child Rights Implementation Committee and it is a legal obligation. It has its functions. It is important that we actually have that in action. And then finally as well, development. Even with our existing legal framework, it is not perfect, both at the national and state levels. And there are areas where there are lacunas, There are areas where the law has been silent, and we are talking about assisted reproduction. We are talking about areas as well, such as digital technologies. The Act has not captured those things in essentiality. And then at the state level, we also see variations in legal provisions, and some of which do not even uphold child's rights standards. So I conclude at that.